I'm Alex Kirsten, and today we're going to be powering Phil under its own steam. What should we start with, Gareth?
Hey, I don't know. All I know is that I'm really hungry, I'm tired, and I want to go home, yeah?
Anyway, moving into the build.
In today's episode, we are going to get the engine running sweetly. There's a few electrical gremlins to get sorted, which I think Gareth is going to get sorted very quickly.
Super quick.
Meanwhile, I'm going to be underneath the car, and Phil has not run under its own steam for around 8 months. So today is a day that we're going to be moving Phil on my driveway. Yeah, boy!
From a week's worth of sleep, we came back to the car and had a little bit of a sort of electrical diagnosis, and it was simply that we hadn't plugged this connector in, but we had plugged that one in, and as you can see, there's no thick blue line for this connector, and therefore we never had an actual positive connection. And it seems to start, we don't need an extension cord anymore, so the electrical problem was never really that much of a problem. All that's left to do is tidy up this loom, and we can get going on the rest of the bits of suspension.
So Gareth chops, connects, solders and inserts. Meanwhile, I start the day on my back, reattaching the steering rack.
I've just finished putting in the pass pump bracket. The reason why we didn't put it in before is because we thought there would be no need because we didn't have the pass pump yet. So in actual fact, I might as well go through this list. If you are going to buy this kit from Rocketeer, there's a few things to take note of. Retain the alternator, retain the engine mounts, retain the oil pressure sender, retain the coolant temp sender, the clutch slave cylinder, the pass pump, and fittings. So that's one thing we didn't do. So we got a pass pump off eBay. Seems to spin quite nicely. And I'm just going to put the bracket on the back of this, and then we'll put it onto the bracket in a second. It's like just dripping off me. It's too hot. This is unethical. So we're just going to tighten this section up onto the bracket, and we fasten one into this turnbuckle, so when you turn this bar around, it either extends it or pulls the whole unit in, and that's how we can create tension on this belt.
An hour in, and with the temperature rising, we were beginning to struggle.
Look at that. Just leaking from my face, like everywhere.
So there was only one thing for it. Parents, lock up your daughters because this is about to get pretty weird. And back to reality.
So hot. I might start stripping down the front suspension. Oh, it's so hot and heavy.
So I begin by unbolting the wishbones while Gareth reattaches the steering column.
That should hold the column in quite well, hopefully, while Alex is going to divert into a curb.
Right, so at the moment we are taking off the upper and lower wishbones from the old subframe, as you can see. These have seen better days, but they're still solid. However, for the sake of this video, I want the car to be on the floor. I want it to be able to drive. The car will still run nicely. The bushes don't look too bad. They are old. And again, ideally, I would have new OEM bushes. However, one thing that we are going to change is the front anti-roll bar. As you can see, this is thicker than original. It's also in a lot better nick, so it should make the handling, the front end, a little bit stiffer, a little bit firmer.
Cue the short montage and more bitching about the heat in 3, 2, 1.
I do not recommend doing cars in the summer.
Look how sweaty we are. It's unreal.
It's pretty much our dialogue for this whole video is, it's too hot. It's because it's just too hot.
And back to it.
Just put it on top of your car.
Or throw it to, you know, cool yourself down.
Hey.
After a short ice lolly break, we push through disassembling the wishbones and reattaching them to the new subframe.
You can see there's a little mark there, little notch. And then if I clean up the face of that, there's little notches along there. So whoever's setting up your suspension at least knows a reference point. So for the time being, I think I'm just gonna make it neutral. Everything needs to be custom set up. We can't just rely on that, those 2 points meeting and then hoping it'll be completely neutral, which it definitely won't. These flexies have pretty much had their day in the sun. So what we're gonna do is fit some Goodridge high performance brake lines. These are braided lines, so the pedal feel should be a lot better than on the standard flexies, which tend to expand and contract as you put pressure on and release it. You should be able to get them from the Car Throttle shop. Click here. So the Goodridge brake hoses are a direct replacement for your OEMs. For now, I think we just wait for Alex because he's a bit slow.
Thanks, Gareth.
So the anti-roll bar, these new bushings, should fit onto the car through these holes here. So 2 of them there and 2 of them there. In order to do that, you need to take the ABS sensor away from the edge of the car because it gets in the way. And a good trick is to thread it over it because that's where it's going to live. But also, we need to try thread it through all of the piping here so it sits on top and slides through. Excellent.
And hey presto, new anti-roll bar. Next up, it's time to reattach the coilovers to complete the suspension puzzle.
I can't remember how we got this in last time. It's cooled down a lot. There's a very strong breeze and we think it might rain.
Might rain? Now there's an understatement.
We need to get the prop shaft in.
Yeah, PPF.
PPF on.
Yeah.
We need to lower it and tighten up all the front suspension.
Yeah.
We need to bleed the brakes.
Yeah.
We need to get the rear braideds on.
Yeah.
And then the side panels maybe, and then the bumper maybe.
But before all of that, it was time to eat the only way we know how. Like animals.
3-second rule.
Oh God.
So here we have a lovely plate of sweet potato muffins made by my girlfriend. Now my hands are quite filthy.
Oh,
Oh, it tastes so good.
it's like really sticky.
Yeah.
Does the whole thing fit in
Oh,
the
yeah.
mouth?
And this one's got a lot of chocolate in it.
I want.
If I can fit one more in my mouth.
Oh, really hard to swallow.
You're telling me.
I need a drink. And I miss you like that doesn't miss.
Better get this finished soon, right?
Yeah.
Time for me to retreat under the car to start unbolting the prop shaft from the rear diff.
There's a lot of cobwebs under here. Oh, just turning the diff.
Oh, I put in gear for you then.
Well, that doesn't matter because it's not attached to the prop shaft.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that.
I used to be so strong and powerful, now I'm just a mortal again. 33, I shouldn't be underneath an MX-5.
But I am, and this is for the greater good of getting Phil back on his feet. So time to whip out the breaker bar.
Praise the Lord. Do I look as filthy as I feel?
Turn around. You're like a little bit on the back, but that's about it.
Sweet.
Spurred on by Ethan's words of encouragement, we continued on with our quest to get Phil road ready, including attaching the PPF and bleeding the brakes, which meant that Ethan was, for the first time in his life, actually useful.
Unbolting it's all right, but putting everything back and making sure everything's square is a massive pain in my ass. And every MX-5 owner's ass.
Before we crack on, a quick announcement. Thousands of you suggested names for our 330D track project that starts next Friday. So we've picked the 5 most popular ones for you to vote on in the poll you'll find in the top right corner. Now, on with the show.
You right under there?
Yeah. Oh my god. I've got the one of the PPF bolts in, which is good news.
Why you stop?
Sorry?
Why have you stopped?
Oh, because you asked me a question, are you right under there? So I had to obviously spring out and answer your question. We're being trolled by God.
As quickly as it arrived, the rain disappeared, meaning we could admire Phil's new twin exit exhaust.
Wow, this is impressive. It'll be nice and golden when we're finished with it. Shall we look at the back box? Oh wow. Oh my god. I could just look at myself in there. Now the big thing is, have we retained all the hanger rubbers for the bottom of the car? I have a sneaky suspicion we probably hacked them off and threw them away.
I remember hacking because a lot of the actual metal hangers themselves were pretty much rusted onto the rubber.
Cable ties it is. This is only temporary. Don't go complaining.
Oh my goodness, we're almost good to go. Oh.
With darkness looming, the final bolts were going in, and the wheels were being bolted on.
All the wheels are back on, PPF is on, prop shaft is in, exhaust is on, not 100% on, but it is on for the purposes of us starting this engine. So, shall we see if it moves?
I think it'd be rude not to. Let's do this.
Fingers crossed.
So here goes. Ah, f***. Yeah, about that.
Looks good though, doesn't it? Looks great. It's a good ornament at the moment.
It's power. And this was all wired up fine. That's fine. Main relay's going off. That water pump should be buzzing away. I don't understand why it's not working.
Project Car Life. I think all that's left to say is we're going to let whatever issue may be somewhere in here, going to let it be. Maybe it will dry out overnight and then we can start it in the morning. Fingers crossed you see us now.
You join me on Wednesday of this week, where after figuring out that the rain shower had soaked the ECU's COM port and deleted the map, I called the guys at Motorsport Electronics to fix my mess. Sure enough, they remotely accessed my laptop and worked their magic. So, here for the first time is Phil's exhaust note and actual footage of him driving under his own steam.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. V6 Phil is finally finished. There's a few more things left to do. Paintwork, suspension, interior, all the rest of it. But for now, V6 Phil lives, and that was the aim of this whole series, and now we've achieved that. Sadly, Gareth couldn't be here, but here's what he thought to Phil starting up.
It sounds really awesome, even through a phone.
I hope you guys enjoyed this series. There'll be more to come. And as ever, to watch the rest of the episodes, click here. To subscribe to Car Throttle, click down here. And don't forget to check out the Car Throttle shop right here.
Woohoo! Now it's time to scrap it.